Alright guys, we're going to go over a quick single arm dumbbell overhead squat progression that you guys can use for the workout today. Alyssa is going to give us a demo of just a standard issue single arm dumbbell overhead squat. So why don't you go ahead and do that? Just a quick demo. You don't need to do it to the ball either. Good. Cool. So obviously very challenging movement. There's a unilateral element to it because we only have one dumbbell holding that overhead. A lot of mobility, thoracic mobility, hip, ankle mobility involved. So we realize that not everybody's going to be able to do this. If you're uncomfortable with overhead squats in general, I would highly recommend just getting a PVC and doing a regular overhead squat and working on that. If you have that down, I would then start to play around with some of these variations. So the first one I'm going to have Alyssa do is she's going to take her dumbbell, she's going to put it back up overhead, and we're going to have her do a partial squat. So we're only going to go down to about the power position. Okay, so she locks it out. Notice how her other arm is out here for balance. Her feet are nice and wide. She's going to send the hips back and down only about 6 inches and make sure that her feet are still flat on the ground and that the dumbbell is safely secured overhead still. Okay, go ahead and stand. Let's do one more to there. So notice how everything stays nice and tight, very stable, and then go ahead and stand. Until you can do that repeatedly, go ahead and take a break. Until you can do that repeatedly, I would highly, highly, highly recommend just practicing that for your overhead squat variation. Once we get better at that, we're going to challenge the depth, right? We're going to actually try to get closer to parallel. And if you are at home, you may want to set up like, let's say a couple of couch cushions or an ottoman or something that you know is going to be at or around parallel for you. So for today, we're going to use the ball because I know for Alyssa, that's actually kind of a higher target. All right, so she's going to do the same exact thing, and she's going to be very mindful of, as she descends, making sure that the weight is evenly distributed in her toes. Go ahead. Okay. Go ahead and stand. Notice how she paused, she stopped at the ball to show control. Go ahead, one more. And then stand. Good. Take a break. So those are your the two ways to kind of scale your way down into it, right? And being able to show control throughout the movement is paramount, right? This is not something you want to just throw into a workout that's for time or for reps and just try to bang it out. This is something that takes a lot of skill and a lot of practice. So the next variation I'm going to have Alyssa do is without the ball, and I'm going to have her actually show a couple of faults, okay, some things that you may experience as you're doing this. Okay, so the first one would be as she squats, she's going to feel her weight slide into her toes. So the heels actually lift up, right? She probably, if she didn't have the other mobility in her hips and thoracic spine, she would have lost the dumbbell forward. Okay? So what I want you guys to do is if you feel those heels lift up, stop, send your butt back a little, pull back a little bit more on the dumbbell, and then continue to descend. Or just stand up and reset. The next one is a little bit trickier to show. This one requires a little bit of stiffness in the shoulder. So for Alyssa, this one, as she's descending, her shoulders are really tight and she's not able to hold the dumbbell over the back of her head. As she squats, she's going to feel the dumbbell try to pull her forward, right? And she may end up having to drop it, right? So if you feel that dumbbell sliding forward, again, stop, pull back, try to reset and continue down if possible. Otherwise, stand and just start the rep over, right? If you are constantly battling either sliding into the toes or the dumbbell shifting forward, we may need to make the movement simpler, in which case we would just go to a single dumbbell front squat. So knowing that in a workout that involves a single arm overhead squat, we can always bring it down if things get sketchy. So just show a couple of those. So she's just holding that dumbbell right on the shoulder, and she's going to basically perform the same squat from there. Okay, go ahead, take a break. That's it, guys. I hope these variations help you, and just know that you can use some of these different options as a means of progressing towards a much higher skill movement.